Hi, this is Thomas Cook from Toronto's real estate team at RE/MAX Hallmark, and welcome to part 1 of our Status of Downtown Toronto's Condo Market Analysis. For several years now, there's been one big question buzzing around the city, and that is, how long can they keep building new condos in downtown Toronto? And that's a very valid question, which we're going to answer for you in this analysis, because recently there have been some major changes in the new construction market, which ultimately will affect how quickly already built condos will sell. I would like to thank N. Barry Lyon Consultants for the terrific presentation they gave to a group of interested realtors recently at the Toronto Real Estate Board, and for providing the slides that we're going to look at in each of the parts to this analysis. So let's swing right into the first slide and get started. To give you some perspective, right now across the GTA there are over 350 new condo projects either being launched, under construction, or nearing completion. Contrast that with the fact that there are only 6,819 low-rise homes available for sale, which is a record low with no relief in sight. Over the past 5 years, with all the cranes we've had in the skyline, the maximum number of units the construction industry has been able to produce has been just under 15,800. We'll see in this series that this will be presenting a problem for timely delivery of suites in the years to come. And finally, another interesting statistic from Lyons is that approximately 70% of all new condo buyers right now are investors, with many of them coming from overseas. So let's see what impact these and other facts will have on our GTA and downtown Toronto condo markets. One of the major new construction market shifts that we've seen over the past decade is the switch from the building of predominantly single-family homes to high-rise condo construction. There are two major reasons for this: affordability and access to land to build on. With the implementation of the Greenbelt around the GTA, the number of low-rise buildable sites inside that Greenbelt has been dwindling. As new sites get built out, there's very little land available to replace them, and what land there is increases in price as demand builds. This land scarcity and higher building cost for low-rise homes has caused the price of condominium suites to look much more attractive to a large group of buyers who might have purchased a single-family house as their first home in years past. When we look at sales of brand new high-rise condos versus resale high-rise suites over the past 10 years, we can see that as the number of new units sold increased, so did the number of resales. In fact, the ratio of new to resale is almost 50-50 right across the board, and is projected to remain the same this year. For those of you who are not aware of how the condominium closing process works, I'll give you a brief explanation. Once the builder and the municipality deem a floor of the building ready to live in, the builder gives occupancy to the buyer. Occupancy begins on the lower floors first and goes up as more floors are completed. The builder is motivated to give the buyer occupancy because he can then start charging for it. There are three expenses: the builder's phantom mortgage, which bills the buyer for interest on the amount of money the buyer still owes, an estimate for monthly realty taxes, and the monthly maintenance fee for the suite. Registration of the suite, where the buyer actually takes title to the unit, will be usually 3 to 6 months after the very top floors finally take occupancy. If you look at the spike in sales for 2007 and 2010, it means that we typically see a bump up in occupancies and registrations 3 to 4 years later. A lot of those unit sales in 2007 have taken a full 3 to 4 years to complete, so we've seen many of them occupied and registered late in 2010 and into 2011. As an aside, if we look at just high-rise condo resales versus overall resales in the GTA, that ratio is just about 25%, so we can expect that to rise in future years. It's really no surprise, given the number of cranes we've seen downtown in the last several years, that construction of new condo buildings has been predominantly in the old city of Toronto. Next most active would be in North York, plus some along or near the waterfront in Etobicoke, and very few in Scarborough. One of the main reasons for this concentration has been easy access to public transit in Toronto. Many buyers love to be able to walk, bike, or TTC it to work downtown. Also, with commuting times along the 400 series highways and along the QEW Gardner increasing every year, there's a small but growing group of residents who've moved back downtown to avoid sitting in their cars for several hours each week. Investors also like buying suites in Toronto and North York because, with quick access to the TTC and downtown amenities, they're easier to rent and fewer tenants need parking. Units sold in Etobicoke or Scarborough almost always get sold with a parking space attached, because it's more likely that buyers there will own a car to get around the city. This necessity for the builder to provide almost one-to-one parking spaces to units sold also causes the builder's construction costs to be higher and reduces their profit margins. So that concludes part 1 of our Status of Downtown Toronto's Condo Market Analysis. In upcoming parts of this series, we'll be talking more about affordability of new units versus resales, average price per square foot, and where future upcoming neighborhoods will be built. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Condo Living Downtown Toronto.tv, and keep coming back for future condo building and market updates.